All right, today we're going to be talking about the Ignatian Examen as a form of prayer. This was a spiritual practice that we used a lot at during my year at Beloved in the Desert. We used it weekly to kind of check in with each other, and it was a wonderful communal prayer, but I think it's also something that I've started using in my daily life to just kind of set an intentional time to reflect on the past week, day, or however many times whatever amount of time I need to look back on. But it kind of revolves around these 7 key areas of spirit, body, mind, relationships, home, work, and resources, and how those things bring God's presence into your life. But one thing that that we really focused on was in this type of prayer was, how does God feel close to you, and when does God feel farther away from you? And that was something I always had trouble with, because God is always like a presence in my life, but I was wondering if you would maybe talk about what that might mean to someone as they reflect about that.
Yeah, so the traditional language in this is consolation or desolation. And so when you're feeling the presence of God, you're feeling there's the fruits of the Spirit: peace, joy, generosity, faithfulness. So I love those 7 areas that you described, because you can literally go through each 7 and think about, okay, in my relationships today, where did I feel a sense of peacefulness or joy or faithfulness? And where did I feel a sense of frustration or distraction or selfishness or greed? Those would be examples of times when you're being pulled away from God rather than going toward God.
Exactly. Yeah. But I like how you talked about how those 7 key parts can kind of see where we're close and far apart.
Can you say those again slowly, just because I want to get them in my head?
Yeah. There is spirit, body, mind, relationships, home, work, and resources. And we talked about how one of our big reflections was, how have I loved the Lord, our God, with all of those things in mind?
One of my favorite things to do with this kind of prayer is to journal about it. In fact, that's one of my disciplines on a daily basis, is to journal and to think about very specifically about the prior day. And sometimes I'll even pull out my calendar and say, okay, where did I feel God's presence, and where did I feel a lack of God's presence, or an invitation like, oh, I wish this had gone this way. It could be that the Holy Spirit's drawing me to some sort of insight there. But it really, I find for me, I end up coming out after I do the examen with a deeper sense of gratitude, and it tunes me up to be more prepared the next day to just have that noticing.
The last part of our reflection would always be to look towards our intention for the next day, based on the reflection, maybe being more intentional towards the places where God was farther away from. My intention is going to be at work, I'm going to be doing this, things like that. But there's always a hope that I always try to end with it. At.
So I guess we'll be putting some resources for people if they want to take up this practice of daily examen. And there's so many different forms, and the 7 categories, Madison, that you shared are fantastic. And there's other models out there of what it is you're examining. So, so fruitful.
We'll link those down below and other places as well. But thank you.
Happy praying.